Welcome to the Movement Podcast. Today we're going to be talking about letting shit go. I'm Wilson, and I will be your host today, and I have the pleasure of sitting at this table with O, JP, and Cam, and we are the Shepherds of Men. Just to preface this podcast, if you're easily offended or weak-minded, then you be prepared because we speak truth. It's not on purpose to offend you, but we are not going to apologize if it does offend you, so get over it. Our purpose is to stretch and grow our listeners and become better than what they are currently. So what's up, fellas? What's new with you guys this week? Anybody first? Cam, go ahead.
What is new with me is we are pumped about 2020. We're excited about how 2019 wrapping up and where the new year is heading. And I know it's kind of cliche or whatever. We don't do like the whole, what do you call them? New Year's resolutions. We don't do that. I mean, we set goals all the time, just kind of daily, weekly stuff, but annual too. And we do have a big vision for this year. We've got at least a couple of new endeavors that we're going to be launching, at least two. And family's growing, obviously. New house coming, all kinds of different stuff. It's going to be a pretty exciting year, to say the least. And we're excited about it, man. We feel incredibly blessed. Everything that's going on with this project, being able to associate with you guys on a continual basis is just adding value to us, and being able to pour that back out to our community and to the country, man. I'm excited about it, and where this is going here over the next months and the next year with our upcoming events and speaking engagements and things like that, man. I couldn't be more pumped about it, and I'm just pumped to be here again with you guys. It's going to be amazing. This is going to be a great episode. I know what we're talking about, and I'm on the edge of my seat already. So
awesome. I agree. 2020 is going to be huge.
It's
going to be huge.
It's going to be a great election this year too.
I don't know if you guys remember this, but at the beginning of 2019, I know I was speaking with some of you guys, and I was like, I just have this feeling about 2019 that's just going to be the biggest year yet. There's going to be a lot of good things that are going to happen, and to be honest with you, I'm not disappointed. You always strive to have more. You shoot for the stars, and at the very minimum, you hit the moon, right? But I think all in all, 2019 has been a very successful year. I think the release of this episode will be dropping in the new year. If I'm calculating that correctly, either or, it doesn't really matter. It's towards the end of the year of 2019, but 2020 is going to be big. It's one of those things where like you grind and grind and grind, and good things continue to happen, and then all of a sudden, the clouds part, and just hated that. Yeah, we got to add that sound effect. But so what's new? I have a brand new baby boy named Joshua Nash.
Jay Nash.
Bad little dude. I don't know, man. A lot of new stuff, man. Kind of like you said, Cam.
Not getting a whole lot of sleep, or
no. That's a past tense. Sleep is past tense.
Yeah,
I don't know if you.
I remember that time.
Yeah. So good stuff, though, man. I'm pumped about it, man. I got even more responsibility now to become successful and to do bigger things, as if there wasn't enough. But really excited about speaking into other men. Some of the feedback that I've received, I know you guys have received from what we're doing, has been super positive. Some of the best ones have been people that come and talk about how it's challenged them to do better, which is really, really, really great for me. I get a lot of good feedback just from the content, stuff like that. But the people that really say, you guys have challenged me to do more with my life and become a better man. In the little things, like we talk about all the time. So, right, absolutely, dude. Just pump, man. 2020 is going to be huge. It's going to be awesome.
It's a pretty pivotal year. I'll learn how to talk one day, I promise.
Okay, it's okay. The voice is on point, my friend.
That's right.
And that's all that matters. That's all that matters. Yeah. So I woke up with like I still have some, but some congestion, and it was sitting in my throat, and I sounded like Batman. And I was like, you know what? Fuck, I can stay. Stay in there.
You can stay.
It's legit. But no, this past week has been pretty cool. I got a chance to really take what we've done here with the Shepherds and kind of speaking to my team at work, which has been pretty phenomenal. And I've actually had some pretty good turnaround and some good feedback from them on that. I think practicing and honing your craft is incredibly valuable, and not just in your work life, but with the brand that you want to build outside of that. We talk about this all the time. What brand do you represent? And I think it's important to represent that brand all the time. Josh, you always talk about signing your name to things, and I think that's important, to focus on what you're doing at work and be all in that. And I think that when you get home, it's important to be all in that. And it's when you're doing your own
That's for sure.
interests. Yeah. Amen. And when you're doing your own interest, your hobbies or whatever, it's important to be all in that. And that's possible. But yeah, last week has been good. It's been productive. It's been continuing to stretch me in a personal growth area as usual. And I don't know. I'm excited about 2020 as well. I think there's I would have never have guessed that I'd be where I am now at the very beginning of this year.
Isn't that a great feeling?
Oh my God, it is.
Like
looking back,
year,
I'm like,
2020 is gonna be the same way.
Mm-hmm.
You know that's the great thing. We talked about this a couple episodes ago, I think it was, or maybe last episode, whatever it was, about just like that next level. Like it's not a plateau; it's just kind of a stepping stone. But like I have the same feeling. Like the beginning of 2019, so significantly different than where we are now, and the beginning of 2020. This 12 months from now, we're gonna feel the same way again.
Yeah. Right.
But let's be honest, like with that, it's 2019 surprised you. 2020 is going to blow your mind. But a lot of that is due to the work that you did behind the scenes, the stuff that people didn't see, which made you so lucky.
I became a student. I mean, I think it's important if you want to get better at whatever it is, you need to become a student in it.
Mm-hmm.
And learn. People, just because you're out of school or graduate with your fancy piece of paper, it doesn't mean you got to stop learning. That just means you need to start at whatever you're passionate about. Mm-hmm. And I think people get lost in that.
Well,
for sure.
The truth is 2019 wasn't awesome because of 2019. It was awesome because of 2010 or 2008 or whenever it was.
When you
started making your move on being just separating yourself.
Yeah.
And becoming who you're going to be as a man.
I think we all have that day where we just make that decision.
Where
you're like, you know what?
Are you implying that it's not like a microwave mentality kind of thing? That it actually takes time? You have to invest time
and that's what people
effort?
miss. I mean, we have that society, and it's like, I think there's probably people, I would almost guarantee there are people listening to this right now that are fired up out of their mind, first part of the year. I'm about to put some personal growth in. I'm about to be a better person, about to be a better man. I'm going to surround myself with greatness and da-da-da-da-da. And in 2 weeks, they'll be past it. They'll be on to something else. And I hate it. Like, it's sad. It's really sad. If that's you, don't do it. Just don't do it. Like, just give it one more week. Give it one more day. Like, just take another step. Just let's hang in there. Every time you think that it's about to, like, I should be there now, it's okay. It really is okay. Look at any successful person in any area of their life, whether it be marriage. I saw a couple, just a couple days ago. They're like 86. And I'm like at their house, and he's like, it's cold. The guy's out in the yard, and his wife comes outside. Like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever seen. She just comes outside and puts a jacket on him, and he says, "Thanks, baby doll." And she's like, "God bless you." Da, 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 da. Like, it's the sweetest relationship, And I'm thinking, they've been married forever, and they're happier at 86 than they were at 26 when they got married.
Absolutely.
Right? That didn't happen overnight.
Right.
Like, I would almost bet she wasn't coming outside putting a jacket on him when he was 26.
Mm-hmm.
And he probably didn't deserve to have one put on him for some nights or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, we've all been there. But, like, that progression in that area, the same thing as with careers or, whatever else, it is a progression, and it's something that if you don't stick around for the results, then you divorced.
If you don't work at it, there's an effort involved in that. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Stick around for the payoff, though, man.
Stop looking for the easy way out.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that's what we were talking about the last episode. Just you got to hustle. You got to work on everything that you really want to do. And new for us this week. I mean, we are my wife and I. I helped her support her into a new business and whatnot. We're launching. Numbers are looking good. Coming into the Christmas season was perfect, and we just kind of set that up right out of the gates to where we're going to be running in the black in the very first year of startup. So really cool to see how that's going to go. And work-wise, just kind of doing a year-end review from last year to this year. I've tripled my numbers, doubled my income. It's just been a solid year, and 2020 just seems to be shaping up to be even better, which is really cool. And I give a lot of that due to the accountability that we had here at this table, accountability I've had with Cam over the years. I do appreciate that, the time that you've sewed into this. It doesn't go unnoted. So it's really reflecting back on all that kind of stuff is good, but also reflecting in the past too. A lot of people who are listening to this, you guys have past defeats. You also have successes like us all. And what the mindset I wanted to bring into this episode is to letting go of all the dead weight that holds you back. That's on your heart, that's in your mind, the guilt of your past mistakes, the wrongdoings that others have done for you or towards you. But most important, I want to talk about those who have become victims of their unfair circumstances. And I think that some people who will never see success fall prey and become victims. And I want to kind of hit on that. And I want to see what y'all's opinion, what do you feel about why is it important to let things go?
I think if you want to have a bounce about you, which I think is important, you have to be light on your feet. It's absolutely impossible to be light on your feet if you carry baggage.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee.
You damn right. You damn right. Well, I mean, okay, so that's a great example. So you look at him, and I don't agree with all the decisions that Muhammad Ali made.
Cassius Clay.
I mean, Cassius Clay.
I'm kidding.
All the I don't agree with all the decisions that he made. But one thing that he did get right was that he didn't carry things with him. People could talk trash about him all they wanted to, and that's just kind of part of the sport. But you could tell that guy let that stuff roll right off his back. And some of it had to do with little battles. And Cameron, you've talked about this before. You don't go home with a loss. You always go home with a victory, even if it's a little victory at the end of the day. You're going to win. If you have a conversation with somebody, they're a dick, you're going to win that conversation regardless. You don't have to be a dick back, but you're going to win it in your own mind for your own self-conscious there. But I believe that it is very important to drop your baggage at the door, especially when you come home, if you have a stressful job, whatever it may be, because you should be light on your feet and you should have a good bounce. When you walk in the door, regardless of what happened to you that day, and I'm not talking about push it deep down inside, but you need to get rid of it.
Right.
Like it's got to go. Like it's over with that day. I'm not in sales. I understand in a sales world, you get a bunch of bullshit. I mean, I've done the sales thing for a little bit and stuff, but and I deal with it too. But you gotta let stuff like that go. Because it was funny, and I don't want to drag it on for very long, but we were just talking about this the other day, and I was actually talking to my wife, and I said, that I've never in my life wanted to be around men that were winning at life more than now. Because you can walk up and you can look at guys, and I don't care where you're at. I don't care if you're in a neighborhood with, $400,000 houses around you, $500,000 houses, people that are quote unquote successful. You can tell a man who's had just his ass beat by life, and you can see it. It's everywhere. There are, and it's at every single level. And you can just look at a guy and go, my God, life has just kicked your ass. For the past 10, 15, 20, maybe 30 years. And then the guy right next to him, living in the same neighborhood, walks out of his house and walks out there like it's freaking Pleasantville. Hey, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, neighbor.
And stuff. Yeah, just living it up.
Yeah.
Hey,
They still live in the same world,
Right.
but he lets shit go. The other guy doesn't.
It's all
Exactly.
That's
mentality.
the biggest
different
difference.
attitude. It is letting go. It's cutting weight, cutting the baggage out of the bag. There's that analogy about walking around with a backpack with rocks in it. Man, just cut the hole in the bottom so the rocks will fall out. But I think on top of that, it's having the attitude of that's how I'm going to choose to be. Like we talk about that a lot in our house. Like it doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter what the weather is outside, who's in office, if you're having a bad hair day, none of that stuff matters, man. It just like, I'm going to have a good attitude today. I'm going to choose to be happy.
Why did you follow up with who's in office with bad hair day?
That's funny.
Oh, that wasn't intentional.
That wasn't intentional,
wasn't,
but
but that is
that's
good.
great. You just laughed so loud your mic went to red.
Whoa.
Exciting.
You broke it.
You broke it.
He broke it.
I think I'm going to relate to a lot of people that are listening. With my perspective on it is, in a sales perspective, I'm more of like once I sit down in a car after an interaction, I'm like, next. If it doesn't work out, it's a next mentality.
Right.
I think in the personal life, though, I take it's a different approach for me, and maybe it's my upbringing, but I forgive easily, but boy, forgetting's a hard fucking thing for me to do. I think it's tough for me.
Up to that person a little more.
Yeah, I think once, and this is more of a trust thing, so different deal. But from a letting shit go perspective, I got a tough personal interactions and trust interactions. I got a real tough time with that. Like, picture a wine glass as trust, and then someone breaks your trust, right? So they drop their wine glass. Even if you put that wine glass back together, it's not the fucking same as it was before you dropped it.
I can see that.
That's it.
But what happened to the wine?
Yeah. They
wine
spilt
still
it,
good?
dude. It's even makes it even
I don't like
worse.
that bastard
I
either,
know.
man.
Yeah.
They spilt it. No, but I mean that's kind of my, that's my, I guess that's my outlook on letting shit go, is that for most things, that's extremely possible for me. And from a mindset perspective, boom, it's a drop of a hat. But from a trust perspective, no. I can forgive, but you will never have the same level of trust in me ever
Fool
again.
me once.
That's it.
Yeah.
No, there is no fool me twice. It's fool me one time. And that, I can forgive you but we'll never be the same level of boys ever. Or family even.
I mean, forgiveness is one of the hardest things on earth to do.
It is.
I believe it's probably one of the most important things, which is it's kind of interesting that it's one of the hardest.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, again, I'm not mad at that person anymore. Okay, I understand it happened. We're good. We're just not on the same level anymore.
Right.
That's all you. It's
I'm a big-
That's
So
kind of
I
like letting go, though.
I-
I'm letting go
It
of this
is, yeah.
relationship because it's no longer valuable to me.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I would challenge you with that just a little bit because as far as I'm concerned, I think people make mistakes.
Mhm.
I think people make really bad decisions in stressful environments, and they can do things that they probably wouldn't normally do that are out of character. One time is a mistake, 2 times is a habit, in my opinion. 2 times is intentional. I'm like you. I might be a little bit more graceful towards people, and after the first time, be like, "Look, dude, we're gonna have a serious sit down conversation, and if we want to get back to where we're gonna be, we can get there. But that was bullshit.
Yeah.
Second time it happens,
I'm
find
out.
somebody else.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm done.
No, I agree with that, and I'm
Two
thinking about
strikes.
my kids because I had to have this conversation with my middle kid the other night. He's only 4, but he did something that he knew he wasn't supposed to do, and he did it intentionally with me right there. And it was almost like you just kind of testing to see if I was, and I mean, you failed the test, bro. There was some consequences and repercussions, and we talked about, and he, got in his room for a little while, whatever. And I went in there and talked to him. I was like, do you understand why Daddy was upset about this? Do you understand what you did wrong? And obviously, yes, sir, yes, sir. I was like, am I ever going to have to talk to you about this again? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, you're not understanding
Wrong
the question.
Yeah. Wrong
You
answer.
did this.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to do this. Am I going to have to talk to you about it? And I was trying to help him understand, this is the grace period. This is you screwed up. There's a bad decision in a stressful environment with your 1-year-old brother. But it's not who you are. It's not your character. Right. And I told him that. I was like, you're not a bad kid,
Right.
but it's a stupid thing to do. And anyways, but it applies, hopefully that will lend itself to growing a mentality with him in the future where he understands you got 1 shot to get it right,
Mhm.
or maybe 2, but don't expect more than that.
No, I believe in that situation though. To your point, your actions hold so much more weight after that mistake.
Yeah.
It's not that you're scrutinized, but your actions hold a lot more weight. You can let things go before the first one, but I'm going to forgive you because people make mistakes.
Right.
But
Because then it is a habit or a character
Right.
flaw.
Yeah, it's a character
Right.
flaw. I think it's more character flaw.
More of a character flaw.
But now, why is it important for us to let things go? And the mindset that I'm thinking of is when you hold on to all those memories, you don't forget all of those hurts. Now, you internalize that, that's when it's wrong. When you internalize it and you let that defeat you and allow you to move forward. So how I look at it, if your life was you scaling a mountain and you're climbing that mountain, and let's use your backpack analogy, and everything that was thrown at you that hurt you, you put it in your backpack, but you don't let it go. So as you move forward, how far are you going to make it up that mountain, especially when you get the high elevation you can't breathe, and you got an extra 200-300 pounds of excess baggage that you're carrying because you wouldn't let it go? How faster can you get up that mountain if you got to that last leg? And that the peak is what everything you want in your life. And that's how I look at it in my analogy of how I look at, am I going to allow this to hurt me, or am I going to learn from this? And I like to take those opportunities when somebody does something wrong toward me and go, okay, how can I apply this to my life, whether it be a positive or a negative? And mostly I'm positive. But also it's like, for examples, I've had some conversations recently with some family members and other individuals that are dealing with these issues, that they don't let go and they harbor all of these pains. And it's like, and then they go, and they asked me, because they know me well enough, to go, well, what about this situation or that situation or that situation? I'm like, I don't even remember these situations. I mean, I do now that you brought them up, but they're so behind me and in the back of recesses of my mind that I have to not allow it to affect me. And why I think it's more important to let things go is that one imagery, if you will, of you have one life to live. The more you let hold you back, the less life you get to have. And that's how
you're gonna get stuck at whatever level of that peak or that mountain, you know. So you're gonna get to your goal might be the peak, but you're gonna get to right here because that's all you're stuck.
Yeah, you're never gonna make it as far as you
allowed
could.
yourself to be weighed down.
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of energy to bring to when your thoughts wander to the things you're harboring, you know. And it's a tarnish on your soul for sure, because it does stay with you, like you said, and like a backpack climbing up Mount Everest. You know, it begins to crush you a little bit, you know. And it's I envy Josh's ability to the one more chance thing is for real. I've given those out, you know, and I have truly forgiven. And the most of the time the thoughts don't like with the people who have kind of bucked up or whatever. Most of the time the thoughts don't really wander there. I just don't care anymore. But I've outgrown so many of those people, so it doesn't. That's probably why.
It's easier.
Yeah, exactly. But it's you know, a lot of that is, and I'm talking like major. I'm talking like sins. You know, I'm talking about that. It's as far as stuff that I wouldn't be able to forgive many times. You know, if you steal from me, like we're done.
Right.
That's it. You know what I'm saying? That's not that you made an accident. That's you betrayed me.
Right,
you know, like that. You know, we're talking infidelities.
As a Christian,
You know, infidelities like high straight. You might get one on an infidelity. You know what I'm saying? Multiple times, character flaw, like GTFO, man. You know, I'm talking like we're talking big stuff. Not like your kid breaks a glass at the table and you're like, you MFer, we're done. You know, it's not like that. Like, it's a mistake.
You're not allowed to eat anymore.
Well, there's a story.
You guys don't do that?
Yeah, oh, whoops. No, there's a story on that. Just real quick.
Okay, sorry.
There's a story on that where someone said they observed a dad in public. This is awesome. If I knew who this guy was, we have to have him on the show, kind of thing. But they observed him in like a big like a restaurant, and his kid knocks over his cup. Right? I mean, everywhere. And the dad's like, hey, you know, let me help you clean it up. No big deal. The kid's like crying, you know, he's messed up. Dad's like, it's okay, man. You're gonna make a lot of messes in your life. Let me show you how to clean it up.
That's good.
Bam.
You know
That's
how
it should be
incredibly difficult that is. Like, and that's why I can get behind you on the fact that, you know, having somebody like that on the show, because that is emotional maturity at a high level.
Yep.
Because I know that my first reaction would be to go, dude, like watch what you're doing, you know, kind of thing. And I think it's most people's.
It's mine too.
You know, and that's where I strive to be.
Yep.
At a level like that, because ultimately, I mean, envy's a big word, but I look up to people like that because I think you can learn from people, like all kind. Every episode that we've had, there's somebody out there that you can learn from. You know, the topic that we've talked about. They do it way better than we do. Yep. You know, but I think that's a really great example. It's a good visual of letting stuff go.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely. And I'm not saying letting go of what people do. You know, we hold people accountable for their actions. So that's not something I'm talking about. I'm talking about their actions not affecting you in a way that's hindering you of having a good life. Let's say, for example, for just example's sake, somebody who does something hurtful towards you as a young person that, you know, could really mess you up. All right. But then instead of, like, I see other different people's perspectives that have encountered these type of things, and they don't, like, I didn't even know until we started having conversations, and it's like, holy crap, really? And he goes, yeah, but I'm not, we're good. We dealt with it. Now we're moved on. And I'm talking about where something that's been traumatic in your life, that you've allowed it to stay with you. You didn't deal with it. I want you to cut it out of your life. If you got somebody, if you're listening right now, please listen to me. If you've got something that's holding you back from someone else doing something bad to you, cut it out of your life. Cut the person out of your life, deal with the situation, address the situation, bring it out to light, and then move forward and have closure in your life and move forward in life in general. That's kind of the mindset I want to think about. Now, I'm not going to, if somebody did that to me, I'm never going to, I'll probably forgive them for my own soul's sake, but I'm not going to forget. I mean, you don't forget. That's totally, that's acceptable to me. I mean, I wouldn't want you to forget certain things because you know that person did that. So you need to have your guard up a little bit because that person's a human just like we are. They could fail you again.
I think you got to be careful with that, though.
Yeah.
Because if you walk around with your guard up, you carry baggage.
Right.
Inadvertently, you carry baggage with you. I think you made a great point when you said perspective, though. Because things that happen in your past, and if you're 20-something years old and you're an adult and you're still complaining about your past and how you grew up in a poor household or with rough parents or whatever it may be, and you're still complaining and using that as a crutch is why you're behind, you're missing it. Mm-hmm. Because you have a great opportunity to change your perspective and understand that can be used as a strength in your life. You've seen things that other people haven't. And I'm going to use an example of a story that actually me and my wife were talking about the other day. A good friend of my wife's, their family owns quite a bit of property. And she made a comment to my wife about, we have a lot of property, and me and my husband have thought about, maybe doing some investment stuff, like, something with the property and stuff. And she told Dina, she said, I don't feel like I have the entrepreneur bone in me, or I don't have the guts to do the entrepreneur thing and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if I have it like you and Josh do. And I looked at Dina and I said, that is a prime example. And I'm not saying that everybody that has grown up with a good life, is like that and doesn't take chances and stuff like that. But I looked at Dina and I said, she never got the opportunity to be poor. She never experienced the opportunity to be poor. I said, because if she had, entrepreneurship wouldn't be so scary. It would be something that would be I'm going to change the legacy of my family. But that's a perspective, right? You can look at it like that, or you can look at it and go, oh, well, I never had money, so I don't have things like they do. They had the silver spoon, so of course it's going to be easier for them to do something great and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is, while you were building the basement and nobody saw you, you understand what it's like to be rock bottom. So it doesn't scare you. Somebody who's never seen that doesn't know what it's like to eat ramen noodles every night, or bologna or whatever it is. We talked about that grind. So your perspective on your problems can really pave your path to success in the future.
Absolutely.
Well, I find that a lot of people that are on that other side of it that have had the silver spoon, I mean, it's just you're right. There's such a deficiency for them as far as being creative and having their mind think a certain way. Because they just haven't had to. They haven't had to practice that. We were talking offline earlier about math. You're an engineer. I went to school for engineering. I did all the maths. I did all the stuff. I worked in that field for a number of years, and I haven't in significantly more years. And I can't even help my 13-year-old do his math homework now. I'm like, where on earth? I was top 10 in a major university in all this academic crap, and now I'm like, I can't even add. And I don't care because that's not my purpose. I'm great with it. I'm okay. I have a calculator on my phone and I don't foresee that ever going away. Right. So but the point is, like, you have to figure stuff out, and so it does create some, we've talked about callousing before in your mind, and other channels in your mind, I think is what it helps do. Something you were talking about is I was picturing the person walking up the mountain, Wilson, with the backpack. Like, when stuff's being thrown at you, when you're being hit with stuff, like, you're right. Some people are literally taking it. I think you have to physically take it and put it somewhere. It doesn't just, like, jump in your backpack.
Right.
Like, when stuff comes at you, you put it there because that's how you're dealing with it. You're just sticking it behind you in your backpack, and I'm not going to deal with it right now. But it hit you first. So it probably created some kind of scar or scrape or whatever. I think what I'm picturing as you're saying that is there's some people that are weighed down by that. They're weighed down by those quote unquote rocks that hit them throughout life. And there's some people that remember the rocks, but they remember it not because they feel the weight in their backpack because they already cut the hole out. They remember it because they look at it. And it's what Josh was talking about. They remember what it's like to eat ramen noodles. They remember what it's like to go to bed because they were hungry. They remember what it's like to have crappy parents or be in a crappy place or have a crappy relationship or whatever. They remember all that stuff, and it has created something that they can go back to and go, I get fuel from that, that drives me, that
Never
creates
again.
another level. It makes me claw into the mountain more. It makes me want to keep going, and so it's a whole different mentality of the way you approach it. So it's, what do you choose to do? Or are you dealing with it now, or are you dealing with it later? You will deal with it.
Yes.
You will deal with it.
I think everybody has you have good and bad baggage.
Yeah.
I think some baggage is okay to carry around if it's used properly. We'll call it tools instead of baggage. But it goes back to what we talked about in subconscious. Everybody has the white wolf and the black wolf. So the black wolf has all of the what? That's what color he is, okay? Jeez.
Why is the black one?
Yeah, why is he got to be a black wolf? No, he is, okay? Yin and
We all have
yang.
black
so,
shirts on just in case.
so no, but he's the anger, he's the the jealousy, everything else. It's just I think it's if you're utilizing the tools that you decide to keep with you to keep you motivated, it's okay. If you're using the baggage and the garbage you're keeping with you to carry yourself through the day, you're just not going to be effective.
Right.
It's gonna hold you back. It's gonna weigh you down, like we're talking about, and you're either not going to go anywhere, or you're going to fail. Which to me is not going anywhere, and stagnancy is failure. So, I think outside of a comfort level, like if you get to where you want to be, whatever, be stagnant. Fucking A, you retire, be stagnant. But for me, it's like, again, I'm addicted to W's. So I just want to keep finding my next one. I am. I want the next thing,
Absolutely.
And it is an addiction, man. Once you get that, yeah, I'll make it. I'm coining it. It's mine.
Well, the next thing, yeah, right across the back. The next thing I want to talk about is what helps you to let go. And when I was thinking about that question myself, I thought of addressing the situation immediately. There's so many people that go through life afraid of confrontations, and they don't want to deal with the problem or the elephant in the room, if you will. They just want to kind of sweep it under the rug. And I had a situation myself, not for me, but within my family that an issue popped up, and they just wanted to wait till after the holidays. And I'm like, why are you going to do that? You have an issue right now in front of you. Why don't you deal with it now? Because if you go after, you're married to a psycho person if they do this. They say something happened, you offended them or whatever, and 2 weeks later they blow up finally, and they tell you about something that happened a week prior.
What a tense holiday season you would create for your family.
Yeah,
talk about festering is the worst.
Exactly.
God.
So that's kind of the reason this all came about is, and as I started peeling back the layers of all the situations, I'm like, holy crap, I'm learning a lot about my family and their past and stuff like that. So in essence, I think that you could cut your baggage or loosen the rocks in your life if you deal with the situation right then and there. And it's good not to forget. It's good to go back to it and go, oh, I remember that situation, but it made me stronger. Not, oh, I remember that situation. It's still right here,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't dealt with it.
So I think it's a scar.
Yeah.
I think it's the scars you carry with you make you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
But if you just have shit, I mean,
Nobody wants shit on them.
no, yeah,
Everybody wipes
no
that
one's
off.
carrying around shit, dude. You're just bloated at that point. Take a diuretic, man. Get rid of it. And good Lord, but
Microwaved asparagus.
yeah.
So I think
I don't even know what we're talking about.
I think what you just said was a really good analogy for that, as far as addressing things immediately, and to use your illustration that you had with that backpack being on your back. It's very conducive to how a lot of people live their lives. They carry the weight on their back, but the problem is they never turn around and face what's on their back. And I'm a firm believer, just like you said, that is a great point. And I know me and Cam have had this situation and things that have happened in the past and stuff. Is I like to look at problems as I know this may sound funny, but this is how I visually do this: is your digestive system. When I have a problem in front of me, I take it, I chew it up, I taste it, I use my sensories, I can get what I can from it, I swallow that joker. Once I swallow it, I digest it, and when it comes out the rear end, how often do you sit there and inspect your turds?
Only for a second if it's really impressive.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah. How long is it though?
You guys are the kind of guys that send pictures to your roommates
Oh,
in
my
college.
God.
Actually, I did. Not for me, but for my kids.
Dude, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
dude,
Eric,
I
come here,
called
look at
Tanya
this.
and I was like, babe, you got to see this turd. Like, unbelievable.
How did that come out of him?
That's
Oh, yeah,
exactly
the
what it
kids?
was.
Oh, yeah.
No, but I mean, but real life. That's the way that I look at things. You have to chew it up. You swallow that problem. You get rid of it, and you flush it down the toilet. Like, and I think the reason that came about was a lot of, and I know we use sports analogies a lot, but this is a men's podcast. So in football, I played strong safety in football. So a lot of times I would make mistakes because you had to play the run and you had to play the pass. So at a strong safety position, you were kind of a hybrid. So you were a little bit of both. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I could sit there and somebody could complete a pass behind me because I took a step forward and played the run first. And now all of a sudden they completed a pass, and I could live on that for the rest of the game, and I could screw up my entire game. But we used to have a term that we used, flush it, because it's a visual representation of taking that problem, setting it in the toilet, and getting rid of it. And I think that's one thing, to your point, people have a really hard time, especially nowadays with confrontation, especially from a face-to-face perspective, because you'll see people talking shit on the internet all the time. But how often do you really see somebody like in somebody else's, grill talking shit to them to their face about something that they would say on the internet? Because there's a lot of things that people want to say on the internet to somebody, but I guarantee you if they were sitting at a table together, man to man, that wouldn't be said. Even if they knew that they were more physically superior and could handle their own to that other guy, they generally don't do that. I'm not saying go talk shit to people when there's a problem, but what I'm saying is you handle it face to face and man to man, because that's how you get it out.
Well, you got to be man enough to have those conversations. I mean, seriously, just adult enough. Not, I mean, be like a grown man or a grown woman. Just be an adult and realize that not every conversation you have in your life is going to be a happy one. It's not going to be a good one. But if you don't have them, you're just, even if it's just a little bit, you're getting weighed down just a little bit because you're not releasing all that stuff. Because I promise you, it's there. If you're thinking about it, that other person's thinking about it too. And you got to be mature enough to sit down and talk about it, like, and not after the holidays. Right. Like, I don't even care when you're listening to this. Not after anything. Like, as soon as you can get to that, the better. Because then you can you're lighter. You can move forward. Yeah.
I agree with that 100%. How do you guys let go of the negative thoughts that might hold you back? That's kind of a weird question at this table because negative thoughts don't really stay true or sink in a sense.
What's your bitch voice?
Yeah, it's all a choice.
It's
how do you keep your mind in check if something is trying to see?
So meditation is typically when the bitch voice tries to get me in the morning. Is when I'm focusing, what I'm trying to do during the day, and the things I don't want to do is usually the things that when that voice starts speaking a little bit louder, and that's when you know that it's time to act, right? So test days, essentially, it's what we can call those, is when your personal discipline, your mindset, it's a test day. So the best way to win is to do what your mind is telling you not to do. That's when you know you'd act. So to get rid of the negative thoughts, do the opposite. If they're telling you to harbor, if they're telling you to harbor that negativity, then obviously don't. It's so easy to say, well, just let it go, dude. Or whatever. But it is more difficult than that. But the less you focus on it, and the more you take action in the opposite direction, the quieter that voice gets, and eventually it goes away. Some things are the cardinal sins, we'll call them, are tougher to quiet down. That's why it's even more important to focus on the good things in your life and not harbor on the shit. Don't harbor on all the negative things that have happened to you. Just let them go. And that's something I had to do, just me personally. When Eric went through his whole deal with that pit bull and got shredded, it was tough for me to look at my son for a while, and it was and not harbor those negative thoughts. Toward the guy that was involved. But when it comes down to it, it's like, what fucking good is that doing me? It's not. And whatever, that's resolved and everything. But even thinking about now, I'm not mad about it anymore. Everything's great. They, the joke I was joking before the show, like they did a wonderful job sculpting his face back together. But that's how I've gotten over it. Is I've spoken, whatever it is. I have done that in such a positive way for so long now that I'm good with it. You know, and every once in a while that thought tries to creep back in when the sun hits it just the right way. You see some of the scars, you're like, mother, and you're like, you know what, fuck it, dude. Chicks dig scars. He's gonna be just fine.
Perspective.
And when he grows up, and he's like, Dad, what's this shit on my face? I'm like, dude, when you were 1.5, you killed a pit bull with your bare fucking hands.
Yeah.
Because who's gonna tell him he didn't?
Right.
His mom? No. I'm gonna swear her to secrecy. You know. But the thing is like, how fucking badass would you feel? Do what?
Yeah.
Yo, goes to school, killed a pit bull with bare fucking heads. Dad said.
Says it just like that too.
I think it's once again we hit that perspective thing again.
Yeah.
You know, you look at it, but I think we talked about the victim mentality. You got to stop being a victim. If you want to let stuff go, stop being a victim.
Yeah.
I tell you what, the worst and most toxic thing in the world is somebody who walks around and bitches about everything and is not searching for a solution. I used to tell my guys all the time that worked for me when they would come into my office, because naturally, when you're in a management position and stuff, people come to you with their problems. And I used to tell them all the time. They'd open my door, I'd be in there working, and I'd be like, wait a minute. Are you here to bitch, or are you here solution seeking? Because there's two different things. Because if you're here to bitch, you can go call your mom. But if you're here solution seeking, I'm willing to work and help you remove any barriers that you have in your way. Because I think a lot of people go around in life really focusing on what they can't control. And it blows my mind. I'm like, you have no control over that whatsoever. Why would you carry that with you? Like that's I mean, that doesn't make any sense. Do you walk into an airport and grab everybody's luggage that's standing in the airport and carry it for them around? Like, that doesn't make any sense. That's not your clothes.
Right. Yeah.
Why are you carrying their bag? Like, it doesn't make any sense for you to carry other people's luggage. And I think you hit the nail on the head. I think you have to dilute the negative, because you're not going to get away from it. It's going to be there. Now, to a certain extent, I think your posture as a man, people can tell if you're going to take the shit or not.
Yeah.
Can I poop on him? Like, is he gonna sit here and take it and listen to me bitch and complain and stuff like that? Or is he the type of guy that's not? Because when people start to realize he's not going to listen to me bitch, it's amazing how some of that stuff doesn't get dumped on you anymore. And you should create that kind of, I guess posture's the right word there. Like, when people see you, they're like, oh, he's not going to take any shit.
What was it? Someone said this that we used to. I'm not a fuzzy-headed trash can. Don't feed me.
I'm not a trash can with a furry lid.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So before we talked, he took him outside and pointed to the garbage can. He's like, before you and I have a conversation, I want you to talk to these guys for a minute.
That is gold.
I love
that is gold.
It's
Oh,
true.
my God.
But no, I agree with that, especially in a leadership role. Like, you have to create an aura about you that you're not getting dumped on, you know? And Chris, I think your question was like, how do you get rid of that, or how do you combat it, or let go of it, or whatever?
Yeah, how do you keep it from seeping in and
Keep it from. When I was reading through this, when we were kind of prepping for this is probably not the right mentality to have, honestly. But I was kind of like, I think I've created such a unconsciousness, if that makes sense, about just not allowing that stuff into my life, that I'm sitting there going like, I'm not really going to have much great input, because I've gone through such extent, and I think some of it's just naturally, like, I just haven't ever really, I'm just kind of not wired that way. Not that like stuff doesn't bother me. Don't get me wrong. There's certainly things that do bother me, and I tell my wife, like, you're really the only person that can mess me up. Like, it's truth. I mean, like, anybody else, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
But if something's not right there, like, I'm just off.
Right.
I'm just off. You know, like, but that, like, she's, you know, we complete each other, and if something's not feeling complete, like, I have to address it.
Right.
And I'm that person that's like, I want to talk about it right now.
Is she the one that goes,
She don't want to talk about it.
Oh, dude, yeah.
That's how my
Candy's
wife
love you, babe. But
Yeah,
you
that's my wife too.
Candy's same thing, dude.
Yeah.
Doesn't say anything and just like, you don't want to talk about this.
That
Exits
helps
the
me,
room. I'm
because,
like,
that stuff does bother me.
Yeah.
Do that.
Her rationale is, I don't want to, in the heat of the moment, say something I'm going to regret.
And I get
I get that.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I get that, but I think you need to think through your words, and I think that's where
Right.
our personalities are different for sure. But I don't know. I've created such a habit of just not letting. I don't get it. Like, I know where I came from. I know who created me. I know my value as a human. I understand that, so I don't let things outside of that realm devalue me.
Gotcha.
Right.
Because that's a tough question for this table, because I know a lot of us don't allow negative in our life. And that's why I was asking if there's something that, okay, maybe at one point you did, and how do you combat that or maybe change that? For me personally, I was blessed enough to go to a mission trip to a third world country where literally these kids only had a T-shirt and they slept on the floor, which is the ground inside their house. And they approached us. I was probably 15, 16 time, and I felt coming into that the world owed me something. That I was one of those where the kids had better stuff than I did, and I was jealous about having those things. And when I went to the third world country and saw how little they had and how much joy they had in their life, my entire perspective changed from that point forward. So, me personally, I think that people are listening to this. They go, "Well, this guy did this, or this is that, or how you were talking about, like they were blessed to be in a silver spoon, or fed by a silver spoon, and all these different things." But truthfully, if you kind of keep looking at that type of stuff versus focusing on what you're going to do and the next step that you're going to take to become better, that's what I think that most people have. And that perspective, having seen what I've seen of seeing somebody who has way less than I have, it turned to me to where I was instantly in gratitude. I was like, man, I'm so grateful that I live in America. I'm so grateful that I have freaking food in my belly. I'm so grateful that I have these things and not struggling right here or having to work in a sugarcane village and cut down a full container cart. If you go to a railroad, one of those open containers, they have to cut one full one for $5. They had to fill that whole thing in. So when a kid was old enough to hold a machete, he was out in the sugarcane villages with their dad and their other siblings, cutting as much as they can because they needed to make money to feed them. And I'm like,
yeah, and man,
huge perspective.
You're right. I mean, if you keep those things in front of you, which I think goes back to the meditation, goes back to having a vision board, goes back to having goals written down, speaking positive things, whatever it is. If you're keeping that stuff in front of you, it's really hard to get weighed down by the bad things because it's a proactive way, or it's a combating of that, where you don't have time to focus on the things that are weighing you down, or you don't easily get affected by them because you remind yourself of even that simple stuff like that we all take for granted. Like, we live in the greatest country in the world. We're healthy, or whatever it is. We have food in the refrigerator. We have a roof over our head. It doesn't matter what kind of roof. You have one, or I have a job. Even though you might hate your job, you have income and you're providing for your family. There's so many things that I think we could look at. And I know, especially, we're just coming off the holiday season and stuff. I think about like how much crap we really take for granted. Like, it's just simple. Like we were talking about today, let's go grab some food. I have to remind myself, like, going to drop whatever we drop on a meal, however many times we do it a month, is just not a reality for a lot of people. Like, and it's just something that really shouldn't be taken for granted, So it's hard to get messed up by like what some moron said about me or did to me or whatever, because I just think we got it pretty good, man. Right. We really do have it pretty good. So, like, just think about the right shit. Like,
Absolutely. So, question for me to you guys, when dealing with a situation that can't be resolved because people involved won't let everything go, how do you deal with that situation? If you have had one like that?
Say it one more time.
So, when dealing with a situation, so you have a situation that's before you, and you're doing everything in your power to make it right, and the person just won't let it go. Peace. How do you deal with it? What do you do?
I think maybe O said it earlier. I just remove myself from that relationship, probably. Just like,
yeah,
I outgrow them.
Yep.
Let's say if the person's very dear to you.
I don't surround myself with toxic people, and I make it known. I'm very straightforward with that. I don't care if it's family. I have family members that are not necessarily conducive to a positive environment, and I make it very known. If I'm going to be here, I don't want to sit here and listen to you bitch and complain about everything that's going on in your life. Now, On the flip side, if you want to humble yourself for a second and stop complaining about everything and ask how you can get better, I'd be more than happy to sit there and talk to you about, maybe some things that you could implement in your life, and not because I'm better than you, but maybe because my mindset is somewhere where yours isn't yet.
Or even if you just want to talk about the weather,
or whatever,
something that's not negative.
But let's and I think one of the big things is creating that clarity of posture right off the bat. That when people start to understand that you're not going to sit there and listen to them complain, they'll stop. Most of the time, they will. And I've been around some people that are some of the biggest complainers I've ever seen in my life, and it had to be like we talked about before. You got to address the situation up front. Like, hey, listen. To be honest with you, I'm not a trash can with a hairy lid. Like my sense gates are important to me. What I hear, what I see, what I speak is very important to me. And I'm not going to sit here and listen to that kind of stuff. To be honest with you, I'll find something to do. I mean, you guys got a pretty cute dog over there. I'll go hang out with the dog.
And there's a difference too, because I think this is important. There's a difference between being compassionate and being a good listener and allowing people to dump negative.
Absolutely.
And I've caught myself a lot of times because even just from connecting with people, like I've spent a lot of years training myself to be able to connect with people for various reasons. I think it's an important thing to do in life personally. But a lot of connecting is listening and being willing to sit there and listen and have patience and not trying, and this might surprise some of you guys at the table, not trying to get the next word in, but just listen. I know, right? Yeah. It's shocking.
What?
But I have to catch myself when I realize like I'm being a really good listener right now, but they're now telling me everything that they've been wanting to tell somebody just to get negative crap out of their mouth. And I'm not going to listen to that. So then you have to create ways to transition the conversation or stop it or whatever. Like if we're going to keep going down this road, I'm out, or we're going to change the subject.
I think it does depend a lot on, like what you said. If I'm sitting at a get together with some friends and stuff like that, and somebody's sitting out there, with me by the fire, and all they're doing is whining and complaining about everything, generally I'll just respectfully stand up, walk away, because I don't feel like I need to tell that person, hey, listen, I don't accept stuff like that. Like I'm not here to listen to your negative and stuff, because I don't feel like I need to do that. So I'll stand up and walk away. Now, if it's somebody that's dear to me, somebody that's a close family member, somebody that I can't just walk away from and just be like, whatever, we're going to have that serious conversation. There's going to be a good understanding. And to your point, you do have to learn how to listen, but you also have to understand where it's time to start guarding your sense gates and start, hey, no, done.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree with a lot of that. I think it's something I take upon myself to ask people, well, how can we fix that?
Help them start thinking different.
Yeah, and help them start thinking different initially. Now, if they want to keep, and I do this a couple times, and I'll ask those open-ended questions. And if they just want to keep going, that's when I'm walking away. Yeah, but I at least want to try to help them think differently, because I've got family members that are like that. I almost just went into who they were, but to avoid that drama.
Right.
I will just say I have family members that are like that. So, and that's how I ask them, well, look, man, I get it. I've got struggles too, but how can we fix that? How can we grow from this and learn from that? And if there's like, oh man, dude, they just want to keep going. It's like, I can't help you.
I'll tell you what I love. It's a seminar, and I believe that all of you were at the seminar with me a while back when I heard it. There was a speaker that said, one of the things that I started to do with negative people around me is say, is that what you want? Or people that spoke negative or whatever, and that goes into kind of what you just said. And that's a great point. When somebody says something negative, you go, was that what you want? Yep. Because then it, like you said, it automatically.
Hell no, man.
Yeah. That's why I'm bitching about it. But I'm going to deal with it again tomorrow.
I ain't going to do nothing about it. Except complain some more tomorrow. Pass my beer.
Yeah. I can't stand it. I freaking hate this job, but I'm going to show up again at 9. Right. Come on, man.
So basically, they just need to get better at asking better questions versus just bitching about
Maybe ask themselves some questions.
Just asking a question instead of just rambling on like this and this and this and this. Man, I hate that. It's like, dude, what do you want? Let's do something about it.
Yeah.
Wow. I like sometimes too. I just like to have fun with it, especially if you're like at a family event. I mean, I
can imagine.
I really do. Like. What did you just say? You said this is bad, or that's bad, or that's bad.
Yeah, pretty much. They just rambling around.
Yeah, I like to just keep poking, like see how far I can get them to go. And I'm losing thought now of what one would be specifically. But
how bad is it?
I'm surprised you're not on the edge of a bridge right now.
How bad is it?
Like scale of 1 to 10. How bad is it though?
Dang, are you gonna let that mess you up?
Yeah. Wow, I thought thought you were a little bit tougher than that. Really gonna, wow.
I really had so much more respect for you before this
I can
conversation.
see that. I can see that. I remember you used to say you're like. I remember watching people walk up to you and be like, "Oh man, this and that," and your eyes would glaze over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and you'd be like, "I just wanted to." They'd walk away and be like, "What did he say?" I was at the beach.
I was at the beach, or I was having a taco or something. You know?
Pretty sure I checked. Ooh, taco.
Yeah.
You had me at tacos.
It's like your love language. Taco.
Dang
Oh,
right it
yeah.
is.
You know, Burger King has them now.
There's never a bad day
No.
for tacos, dude. You can do tacos for breakfast.
Yeah.
You
I
can
don't
do
know what this
tacos
Taco
for lunch.
Tuesday bullshit is.
Oscars.
Like, what is wrong with the other 6 days of the week?
Er
What I'm
day.
talking about.
Er day.
Taco Er Day.
We
You know how to
actually
let
That's
that
had
go.
Day.
we had
Saturday.
tacos for dinner and then came over to your house and had tacos for dinner.
Nice. Outstanding. Do
2
you know how to
days
let
in a
stuff go? Get tacos.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? If you're having a
Go out
bad
the
day,
back end
Yeah,
of the taco.
yeah.
go get tacos.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Taco Bell.
Yep.
Also a good shirt.
Have you ever seen people celebrating Cinco de Mayo having a bad day?
That's true.
No.
Nope.
Only for drinking water.
They always partying for like
Yep.
days.
So through the questions that we've went through and y'all saw the list of different stuff. Y'all have any other thoughts that you want to add to this topic?
Just get rid of the backpack and just, go shirtless if you have to. Whatever.
Yeah.
Just create some more scars. Take it. Keep moving. Quit trying to. You don't need a survival kit. Like you're gonna be prepared just through the as we talked about before, through the grit and the grind of life. It's gonna prepare you for what you need. So you don't need to worry about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, instead of
Stop
putting
trying to figure it out.
instead of putting the rocks in your bag, put them under your feet.
There you go. You get to the top faster.
Yep.
Where's
Climb
your-
out, man. Put them under your feet. Use them. Use them as leverage.
And it's all different perspectives right there.
I think, yeah.
Taking instead of, and I think the biggest point is instead of taking it and using it as a crutch and as a stepping stone of failure, like falling backwards, you're actually using it for energy. You're using it for productivity. You're using it to sharpen the sword. You're using it to strengthen your calf muscles to go further and climb further and dig deeper. And I think that's perspective of where you need to be in life. If life is hitting you hard, dig deeper. Find something inside you more. One last parting question I want to ask all you guys. When life hits the worst or gets the worst to you, or when you can think back of the most challenging struggle that you had, what got you through it?
I never want to miss out on an opportunity to learn. I never want to miss out on an opportunity to get better. So every time I'm hit with a really, really tough situation, I look at that as an opportunity to learn. And that may sound weird to some people, but those are some of the best times to actually learn how to go to the next level. Most people don't even get to see those times. They tend to happen to them. But if you look at the truly successful people out there, they search out those times because they realize that's how you get to the next level. If you're afraid of something, face it head on. It's going to be tough. It's not going to be easy. Just because you do it doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you will come out on the other side a better person, and that is the only way to succeed in life. It's the only way to move to the next level is to take those hard times as an opportunity to learn and stop talking about being afraid of things. Learn how to talk to yourself. Say, I'm excited. Because even in a bad situation, you can be excited.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of saying I'm afraid or nervous, say I'm excited. I'm excited about this. I'm about to learn something. You talk about messing some people up. David Goggins talked about taking souls.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly how he talked about things. And that's how he got through some of those really, really, really tough times that he went through, is he looked at it as an opportunity to get better and to learn. And he looked at it in a different mindset. And he was like, dude, we're about to attack this. We're going after. I'm excited. I'm going.
You said how, like, when something really impacts you in your life negatively, how we would deal with it, I guess.
How'd you deal with it?
So I want to preface how I would want to be told, how 20-year-old Chris would want to be told, because I went through some stuff when I was about that age. And I think what you just said kind of sparked it. Like, man, I'm pumped. Are you kidding me? Like, this would be me finding out, right? Like, and confusing the other person. Like, are you serious? Like, I'm pumped. You just made this relationship really easy to end. Deuces, like, bye. Instead of doing what most people would do. Because at that point, you've taken that person's soul. Like, you're not even mad? No. Fuck you, dude. I'm out. Boo. See ya. You know, you just made this really easy. You kidding me? There's no baggage now. Bye. You know, good luck. You know, but that's not how 20-year-old Chris handled it. Chris handled it like most average people, moping, you know, talking to people about the issue, making them the fuzzy, you know, whatever, the trash can with the fuzzy head lid kind of thing. And I was just feeding a bunch of toxic energy out. And I think people need to realize it's not the way to handle it. You know, we talked about that. It would be to steal souls. I think it's the best way to fucking do it, to be honest, is look somebody in the eye and go, dude, you did what? Sweet. You just made this the easiest transaction in relationship history. Bye. You know, and they, you know, what do you say to someone that tells you that? And again, we're talking carnal sins here, right? The big stuff, stealing, lying, whatever. Big lies, not like, I didn't take your car, like shit like that. And I'm like, I didn't take your pen, you know, like big thing, carnal sins. So that's how I would do it. You know, if I had to be 20-year-old Chris and need to hear something.
Cart back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I put the shopping cart back. Yeah, I'm not saying like, we're not friends anymore because you didn't do that. You know, I'm not talking silly shit. I'm talking like life-altering shit, you know. I love that. That's fucking awesome. You know, coming at me with, you know, you tell me you're going to do something big and then you don't come through, man, you just made this real easy for me. You know, bye. Good luck. But I think as far as dealing with it now, that's how I would deal with it now for big stuff. The rest of it would just be more of like the smaller things that just kind of dig at you a little bit would just be kind of separating yourself. And I think if you're just to talk to people out there, if you're surrounding yourself with the proper people like we have here, I mean, this is our core. This is my core group of guys. You know, I've got other friends and stuff, but you guys are my core group. And I think if you have a strong core group of guys or girls or whatever, they're not going to do that kind of shit to you. So you're not really going to have to worry about it. And if we ever did something that bugged each other, which we have, we approach it immediately and we deal with it. You know, we don't let it fester. We've talked about that. And I think a lot of people do that. Like you said, with your family, we'll talk about after the holidays. It's going to be so much fucking worse if you wait till after the holidays because you're going to have all that time to think about it and it's just going to piss you off. You're filling your backpack with rocks and you're going to be so pissed by the time after New Year's. You're going to be so weighed down by it, but by the time you let it out, it's just going to explode.
And the other thing is, it all throughout the holidays, it was fake.
Exactly.
Because you had
There's so much tension.
Individual, and then that person's thinking it's all good, and then after the holidays, it's like,
boom, volcano.
It's like,
yeah,
where
exactly.
did this come from?
Yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah, again. So I mean, just make sure you're surrounding yourself with quality people, and you won't have to worry about somebody lying, stealing, cheating, all that kind of stuff. It's qualify your people. You know, that's the big thing.
Yeah, so for me, I agree with all that for sure. JP, you hit on seeing what you can learn out of it. I mean, in the times of my life when I look back and think about the stuff that was the biggest struggle, the stuff that really could have weighed me down long term, that probably a lot of people dealt with similar things and are still weighed down by it or still haven't recovered from it or whatever. They continue to get drugged down. It was prayer for me, man. I mean, I'm a person of faith. I have a relationship with Jesus Christ. I mean, when I should do this before it gets to that point. I mean, and I do a lot of times, but I'm human too. But I'm a man, which makes it even worse. We're just like, I'm gonna try to figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out and figure it out and figure it out until I got so many damn rocks in my backpack. I'm like falling down the mountain, right? And then I'm like, oh, no, I can't figure it out. Yeah, so. Then I pray, and as I'm praying, one of the things that I pray for is like, man, this is happening for a reason. Let me know what I need to learn. Give me wisdom through this. Give me some wisdom. Give me some perspective. Help me to see what, and this is one thing that I think is really important because I didn't used to do this, but I used to just want to know, like, what am I learning or what's going to come of this or what door closed or a window open and all those cute things you hear said. But now a lot of times when I pray, I think, what do I need to take personal responsibility for? Why has this happened in my life because of something I did? And I think it's a different way to look at it. It's different than how can I deal with what somebody else did to me? That's a different mindset. But how can I seek guidance through prayer for me personally and my beliefs on things that I can do better, that I can change. And some of that's the stuff that we talked about today,
Absolutely. All right. So in wrapping up, man, I'm going to kind of give him my points on this is letting go of things and give kind of some examples. Like, for example, relationships. I'm a man, so I only date girls. So when a girl,
Aren't you married?
I'm married, yes.
But
I'm
you're
saying
still
through
dating
that-
girls?
I'm
Does
so
Ashley know?
confused.
Women,
Should we have an
That's
integrity?
absolutely
What's going
against
on?
Shepherd's Creek.
Yeah,
I'm pretty
pretty
sure that's
sure
against
you're
Shepherd's
fired,
Creek,
dude.
yeah.
What do you know?
Pretty sure you just got kicked out.
You just made this really easy.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. What you
I'm
meant
saying-
to say was you
Yeah,
used to date.
when I used to
What
date,
happened was
what happened was when I used to date women,
Let
and
it
I would have.
go.
Well, I see a lot of guys who run into these. The woman left or quit or just dumped them or whatever, and they just get in this like sour attitude. It's just kind of like my perspective in every single situation is like there's other women out there, but the first thing I did though is I evaluated. Okay, did I justify that? Was this justifiable? Was it me? Was it her? Most cases, it was me breaking up with that person because I was very selective. But whenever it did happen to be me, it'd be like, okay, what did I do wrong? Or whatever. In those situations. So you first I look to evaluate the situation, and like what you said, Cam, take full ownership of what pieces I had. All right. And then say, okay, the next set I'm gonna do better. Then at the same time, if somebody does something wrong or if they lie or steal or whatnot, I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe something caused them to do that because we're all humans. But like you guys said, if it's 2 times, I'm not doing a third. And on those third, I'm going to control every bit of that piece. I'm going to make sure that that person is not tempted to and do the best that I can to stay away from that individual. And I'm very selective with who I hang out with or allow at my domain at my home. So I guess moving forward, my perspective is that you got to let go. You got to learn from your mistakes, learn from other people's situations. Be there for those who you care about. But if the solution is never going to have, you're never going to have a solution in this situation. You just got to distance yourself from that individual because they're bringing you down. And human nature, I've heard somebody say this, is that we're like crabs in a pot. We like to pull people down who are trying to succeed and do better. You are a person who's trying to get out of that pot. And if you allow other people to control you and add baggage to your life, that is on you. That's completely in your control, and you have every right to do whatever you need to do to move forward and climb that mountain to whatever success level you want to go. And stay uncomfortable. Stretch yourself. Get around the right people and stay accountable to yourself. Make sure you're in every situation, you have the right proper perspective and evaluate it saying, I always love to go and say, well, I remember that the third world country, those kids didn't have anything and I'm here, so I can't bitch about it. Maybe I want more because I see more, and that's okay, but you have to have a healthy respect in that, and not let it consume you. So moving forward, guys, biggest thing is don't be a victim. Don't bitch about it. Nobody really wants to care. Nobody cares about your problems for most cases. They only care about themselves, so you're not really doing anybody justice. Internalize it. I like to pray over it. If you're not a prayer person, maybe confide in somebody you can trust to deal with the situation, but don't be bitching at them. Come to them with a solution. Come to them with genuine earnest to fix the problem. And if you have a problem, face it right then and there. Don't let it go a night. Man, deal with it right then and there, or schedule some time to deal with it in the near future. And don't let it go past the holidays. Deal with it. That way you can be real, you can be genuine, you can be you, and you don't have to worry about being fake, and it's all good. So this is the movement, guys. I've had a great time with you. Definitely follow us. If you liked what you hear and you ever liked in any of the other episodes, share with us what you liked, what you disliked. Give us some feedback. Give us some more suggestions, things you want to hear about the Shepherds, what we want to talk about, our mindsets. Dig a little deeper with us. Man, we have our social medias outlets available at any time. Feel free to reach out to us, email us, whatever. But it's a pleasure working with you guys and talking to you. Y'all have a blessed week, and go become.